We tell the story of the Civil War as liberation, 4 million slaves freed, a nation reborn. But there's a story historians don't tell you, the story of Robert Shorter, a skilled black sailor who served his country with distinction and lost everything when the war he helped fight came to an end. On January 10, 1854, a 41-year-old black man rowed out to the USS Decatur in Charleston Harbor. His name was Robert Shorter. He wasn't enslaved. He was experienced. He was valued. He was rated as a seaman, the highest rank for non-commissioned sailors on sailing warships. That meant something. It meant he'd passed rigorous examinations. It meant he had spent at least 4 years perfecting specialized skills on the ocean. It meant respect. According to historian Lorraine McConaughey's research, Shorter mastered dozens of specialized skills, tying intricate knots, setting and taking in sail, firing carronades, fighting with small arms. When the Decatur sailed out of Boston in a howling winter storm, searching for an overdue passenger steamer, Robert Shorter scrambled up icy rigging, racing to the yardarm at the word of command, snow whipping around him in bitter wind, furling sails in careful coordination. A man's mistake endangered everyone. Shorter's crew depended on him, and he didn't fail. For 5 years, Shorter sailed the Decatur through the Atlantic, the Caribbean, through the Strait of Magellan, to Hawaii, to Puget Sound, to San Francisco, through 2 mutinies, through outbreaks of scurvy, through the deaths of shipmates from tuberculosis. In 1856, in Seattle, an Irish ordinary seaman named John Ryan called Shorter a black son of a bitch after getting drunk on shore. Ryan was court-martialed. Ryan was demoted. Shorter's rank protected him. His skills honored him. In the antebellum Navy, Robert Shorter was respected. Then the Civil War came, and everything changed. When Shorter left the Decatur in 1859, he was a skilled seaman. By 1861, the Navy promoted him to sailmaker's mate, his first petty officer rank. For the first time, he had become what he'd earned through years of skill and dedication. But then, the Navy transformed. The war that freed 4 million slaves simultaneously changed the very institution that had valued black sailors like Robert Shorter. Sailing warships were replaced by iron steamers. The skills that had made Shorter invaluable, the ability to furling sail, to navigate by canvas and wind, those skills became obsolete overnight. According to McConaughey's research, by 1865, as the Brandywine went out of service, Shorter was rated only a laborer on the steamer Fairkey. Not a sailor anymore. A laborer. He sailed with an almost entirely black crew, many of them unskilled former slaves or contrabands, as they were called. The man who had been an aristocrat of skill in the sailing navy had been demoted to the lowest ranks in the steam navy. His race, which had been secondary to his skill before the war, had now become his defining characteristic. Here is the irony that historians rarely discuss. The Civil War was fought to free nearly 4 million enslaved people and to establish what Lincoln called a new nation, dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. That was the noble ideal. But Robert Shorter, a free and highly skilled black man, lost ground during that very war, fought for freedom and equality. In the sailing navy, he was respected. In the steam navy, he was demoted. As historian Lorraine McConaughey writes in her book, Warship Under Sail, there is a profound irony in Shorter's story. She states, "In the antebellum Navy, Robert Shorter served in an integrated crew and his skills earned respect. His rights were protected against violation. Shorter was honored with rank, good pay, and promotion. He did not sail in the U.S. Navy as a cook or servant, but as a highly skilled worker, a fighting sailor. But in the wartime Navy, Shorter was grouped with other men of color, seen more as a black man than as a seaman." Think about that. Before emancipation, skill mattered. After emancipation, race mattered more. This is what historians need to talk about when they discuss the Civil War's aftermath. Yes, slavery was abolished. Yes, 4 million people were freed. But for some free black people who had built lives of dignity and skill in the antebellum period, the Civil War brought not advancement, but decline. The machinery of progress for formerly enslaved people came at the cost of progress that free black people had already achieved. Robert Shorter's story is not a story of triumphant emancipation. It's a story of the complicated, painful truth that wars fought for noble causes can simultaneously diminish those who are already free. That freedom for millions can come alongside the loss of standing for those who had already earned it. That the very systems designed to uplift the newly freed can push down those who had previously risen. Shorter continued to serve until 1865. We don't know what happened to him after the war, but his service record tells us what we need to know. A skilled man. A respectful man. A man valued for his labor before the war. A man devalued because of his race after freedom was won. This is the story the history books skip. This is the story we need to tell. If this challenged what you thought you knew about the Civil War's legacy, comment below. Tell me what surprises you about Robert Shorter's journey. Like this video. Share it with someone who studies history. Subscribe to Emancipation History TV because the real stories, the complicated, painful, true stories, deserve to be known. Because history is more complex than we're taught. And Robert Shorter deserves to be remembered not as a cautionary tale, but as a reminder that freedom isn't simple. It never is.